Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Tadlock, would you take roll call, please?
Mr. Armitage.
Here.
Here, Gordon.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here?
Mrs. Costa.
Here.
Mrs. Reckless.
Here.
Mr. Scarrow.
Here.
Mrs. Vaughn.
This meeting has been noticed for state statutes and we do have several people who wanted to speak during our community participation. I'm just gonna read a brief statement and then I'll call you up by name. The community participation period is an important time for the Board of Education to hear concerns, gratitude, etc. of its constituents. That said, prior to making a statement, please be aware that each speaker bears the personal risk if anything they say during community participation of the school board meeting is defamatory, slanderous, or otherwise harmful to another individual. Okay, each of you will have 3 minutes to speak. Mr. Scarrow will have a timer for you and give you a 30-second notice when you're coming up on your time. First, we have Rebecca Johnson.
Is there a particular place you like?
Just come up to the table. You can either sit or stand, either one.
Okay. All right, good evening. My name is Rebecca Johnson and I come before you tonight as a parent of an incoming middle school student. My hope is that bringing this issue to your attention, that we can move from concern to action. My comments tonight focus on physical education, the middle school schedule, and the urgent need for compliance and accountability. First, compliance with the law and district policy. Wisconsin statutes are clear. Physical education must be offered every week, all year long at the middle school level. This is not a suggestion, it's a legal requirement. When I learned of the middle school schedule change earlier this summer, I immediately contacted the principal for clarification and confirmed my understanding of the statute with our state professional leadership. They referred the issue to the Department of Public Instruction, and at that point, the middle school principal postponed our meeting, stating that they were working directly with DPI. I waited, and weeks later, my son's schedule arrived, and it showed only 1 trimester of health and PE. That's why I'm here today and with urgency because school begins next week. Also, the Elkhorn District Policy states that in number 331, the curriculum and instructional programs in the Elkhorn Area School District shall be developed to support the district's mission and to meet legal requirements. Yet the schedule as it's written doesn't comply. Furthermore, offering parents a PE waiver is not in line with state statute, and it also violates the board policy 34345, which allows only waivers for students in grades 9 through 11. This raises a fundamental question. Were the principal and the superintendent aware of the compliance issues when the schedule was created? If not, that indicates a serious breakdown in oversight. If they were, it raises equally serious questions about why the decision moved forward anyway. Either scenario is concerning, and many parents that are here in attendance tonight share this concern. You may have received phone calls or emails about this. You're hearing from us tonight, and many have thanked me for being speaking up on this. After multiple conversations with DPI, I guess the question is, why hasn't this been corrected? Parents expect our children to receive a well-rounded education that values all academic subjects, and the 5-period middle school schedule as it stands forces students to choose between music, allied arts, and PE, all essential experiences that together support the development of children. Students should not be forced to give up one vital opportunity in order to have another. Beyond legality and process, this is ultimately about educational quality. Health and PE are distinct disciplines, each with their own standards, objectives, and both are critical for lifelong well-being. Given the urgency, I respectfully ask the board to take action to hold the administrators accountable to create a middle school schedule that complies with state statute and district policy, or to convene a special meeting to establish a clear plan for compliance before school begins. And please build our trust in being transparent and communicating with us and all stakeholders by acknowledging the problem and the solution that was found. This is not just about a schedule change, it's about following the law, upholding our district policies, and ensuring trust in the decision-making process, and most importantly, providing the best education to our children that we're all here to serve. Thank you for all that you do.
Thanks. Okay, next is Leah Burke, sorry. Okay.
Hey everyone, I'm a parent of an Elkhorn Area School District student, the wife of a middle school teacher in a neighboring district, and I'm here to further support the other parents, speakers, and staff members. It's no secret there's been a lot of uncertainty over the last year leading into the referendum and navigating what comes next after it failed to pass. I don't envy that position at all. With a lot of uncertainty and changes happening without clear explanation as to why they are made, it leaves parents, students, and even staff members sometimes to have questions or make assumptions. As parents, there isn't a clear explanation for why schedule changes were made. That can leave many questions, some being, what were the drivers of the change? What research was reviewed about block schedules at the middle school level? While longer instructional time can lead to improved test scores, how long is too long before attention and retention rates decrease? Were teachers given further coaching or training for longer class periods? Were the goals to increase test scores, reduce behavioral referrals, or is there a cause for concern of increased behavioral issues? Is our middle school being treated as a test case? And will no parents be updated on whether those goals are being met? Were there other options discussed to provide electives that could provide health, physical education, outdoor education, or some form of physical activity that could be provided year round? One of the reasons that were provided to parents was that band and choir students wanted to keep the programs year round, which we all respect. But to make that adjustment, the options presented included both illegal and legal ways of reducing PE, even though PE is a required subject under Wisconsin law for middle school students. For some students, physical education classes are offered and required during the school day, and sometimes those are their only forms of organized physical activity that they get throughout the day. Sometimes due to family schedules, financial means, limited sanctioned school sports offered at the middle school level outside of the club level. So now parents are left to wonder, was this change known that it was not compliant with state law? Was it checked? Was it not? Or is this something that was cared about? Are there other areas of curriculum, scheduling, et cetera, that are not compliant with state law? All of those possibilities can sometimes feel unsettling. The district now faces not just a legal problem, but a transparency problem. Parents want to know how the board and administration will continue to communicate further changes, be accountable, and demonstrate that decisions are being made with both compliance and the kids' best interest at center. For that reason, I join others in formally requesting that this issue be addressed in a special board meeting prior to the next school board meeting, just so that it can be addressed openly and discussed. Thank you, and again, thank you for all that you do. I know you're working with what you're given sometimes, so appreciate it.
Thank you. Next is Matt Guff.
Be a different one and sit down. Hello, my name is Matt Guth. Like the others, I'm here to talk about middle school PE. I have 2 children currently enrolled in Elkhorn schools and another one that just graduated. I'm also an educator who received the Cole Health Fellowship Award, recognizing me as one of the top teachers in Wisconsin. That award, along with other awards that I have won, have at least in part been as a result of my work to use physical activity as a means to increase test scores. The research and the science is clear. Physical activity and the movement leads to better learning, improved retention of information, and higher test scores. I don't have the time to go through all the research studies, but as an entry to this field, I would suggest reading the book Spark by Dr. John Rady. It's an easy to read narrative on how schools can easily use the science of exercise to improve learning and increase test scores. I have a feeling this change at the middle school was made in an attempt to raise test scores, but unfortunately the science and the research doesn't support this change. Additionally, let's not forget, these are kids we are talking about, young kids, 6th through 8th graders are 11, 12, 13 years old. They need to move. If you are not convinced of that, come to the football game this Friday night and look behind the bleachers. Instead of watching the football game, there will be hundreds of middle school kids running around, randomly running, and I guarantee you that. And so if you watch those kids, you will see how important movement is. These are kids that need to move. And these are the same kids that we are proposing removing movement from their school day. In a world where schools rely on research-based evidence and best practice to guide choices, the decision to lower the amount of time students are in physical education class does not align with the research. Simply put, according to science and research, the decision to cut PE doesn't make sense. A high-quality physical education program should be the backbone of the school and a means to higher test scores. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tyler.
Yeah, I do think that Typically in public comment, we don't make comment or speak to that, and when there's misinformation that's presented, not saying that it's intentional, it's important to make corrections. And one of which is, it was stated that the school district is not in compliance with the law and not following the legal requirements related to PE. That is not accurate in our assessment. We've worked with DPI on that. We did have a concern that was raised related to PE and the structure and the waiver, which we had granted in an attempt to provide greater access to, based on feedback from parents who had students that were in choir and band all year long, that they wanted greater choice in the electives. And that was one of the things that we looked at and discussed as a board, that, you know, perhaps we could grant that waiver, similar to what the high school level was. I did have a conversation with DPI and agreed with their assessment that under current state statutes, without seeking a waiver to those statutes, which DPI could grant, that giving the waiver to PE is not appropriate and not in compliance. So we withdrew that waiver. Ryan did reach out to the parents who had made that request for the waiver, to let them know that their students would need to enroll in a PE offering or option. So if there are any middle schoolers that don't have PE in their schedule, that's one, either it was a scheduling oversight or an error, or it was they originally requested a waiver and have not replaced the course in their schedule, which they'll need to. The second piece is DPI has, in the state statutes, and I understand where that confusion can come from, is they state that PE should be instructed on a regular instruction, and they go on to state in the statute that regular, or DPI's interpretation, means weekly. However, they also have a provision which states that sixth graders who are scheduled in schools with 7th through 12th graders may be scheduled in accordance with the scheduling of 7th through 12th graders. Which means that us scheduling PE in a trimester basis is allowable and permissible. That's our interpretation of it. That's I met with the DPI leadership team and asked them to go ahead and review that and send if they have different guidance, which then there is a whole process that we can work through that. But the concern that they primarily had was that waiver request, that statutorily isn't granted under current state statutes. So we did address that, correct that. From a minute standpoint and so forth, if we compare our PE class and PE instruction to what they had in 5th grade, and they had just over 2,000 minutes of instruction a year, 2,160. Our incoming 6th graders will have 2,920 minutes, almost 800 minutes more of PE instruction than they had in 5th grade. Granted, it is not spread throughout the year. It would be in a trimester structure, which doesn't put it on a weekly basis. The alternative to that, and that's something that the board wants to revisit, wants us to present and review, would be to set up a schedule where you would be rotating the electives, where you would have like PE on a Monday, German on a Tuesday, robotics on a Wednesday, PE on a Thursday, and then you would go through the allied arts like that. The reason we didn't select that or choose that, we felt that that would be disjointed and pedagogically not sound on building that instructional ability to meet those objectives and give students that growth opportunity within those subject areas. On the flip side, it would provide students with, it would be that regular attendance within that class. But that's why we did structure PE as we did in that trimester schedule within that 5-hour day structure.
So DPI legal backed out on that letter that I copied to all of you that said their interpretation, and that was not compliant. They came back and said to you in that meeting, I just want to confirm, because I have the letter.
This is not an open session. I'm happy to sit down and meet with any parent at any time. None of you have followed up with myself and requested a meeting. I'm happy to sit down with anyone at any time and go in depth and have the discussion related to any topic. And I'd be happy to walk you through every single aspect of it and every single point.
Yeah.
And where the district's position is. Would be happy to do that. And DPI is in the process in that department of, I met with them on Friday. And invited them to review the matter and share with us their
There,
input after pointing out those components of the law and those aspects which are right in the memo that that attorney is. So, but I'd be happy to sit down and go through in further detail with any parent at any time. All you gotta do is reach out and give me a call or make a request, which to this point, nobody has.
we can't have open discussion at this point. The item is not on the agenda. So we can't openly discuss other than Mr. Tyler was able to just present some information as a rebuttal. Is this something that anybody, would you like to see this put on a future school board meeting agenda so that we can have an open discussion?
I definitely want us to understand what TPI's response is. I think that's gonna guide us to whether or not you need to have a special meeting for it. So when do you think we'll get that back?
I met with the leadership, not met, it was a phone conference with leadership on Friday.
Okay.
And, you know, made my request to them. I'd spoken to Assistant Superintendent Tom McCarthy on Thursday, and then we had the phone conference with it was the director or the individual who's over the PE and the health department, and asked Meg Whaley, that was her name, and her supervisor to you know, brought up our points from our perspective and asked them to have legal review that aspect, and they said they would do that and reach back out.
You need 2 days notice before you can have a meeting, is that always?
Yeah, I believe 72 hours or 2 days. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I would like to understand what TPI's position is.
Yep.
So that we formally can acknowledge where they're coming from.
Right.
So I guess.
Yeah, having a meeting before that is.
Yeah. So I think
Would be premature.
I would suggest that we wait, that it takes us that much time to hold a meeting. I don't have a problem having a special meeting just to address it, and those people that have concerns can come. Voice their opinions about it.
Yep.
No, I think that to note as well, and BPI gives in the state of Wisconsin great authority to local school boards in the decision making and how you want to meet the standards. In fact, school boards don't even have to adopt the state standards that are established. We can adopt our own standards. And so we have a lot of local control over that. I think that's part of the reason why in but some of the reaching out to DPI, people are saying, well, go back to your school board because you have great autonomy and authority on that. Because DPI also has the ability to grant waivers to state statutes and so forth and grant flexibility in that scheduling, as Assistant Superintendent McCarthy pointed out, that a lot of this is 30+ years old, and they recognize the fact that needs to be updated to reflect current times and current needs. And so that waiver option is there for districts as well. My assessment is I don't believe we need a waiver. I feel that we're in compliance with the statute, but board discretion as to how you want something set up pedagogically and so forth. School boards have great flexibility in that.
Just to address the question of whether or not the board was informed and looked at different models, yes, and you can go back to you know, all of our meetings are posted on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and see the different models that we were presented with. We looked at several different schedule options. We looked at there were reasons why we chose what we chose. A lot of it was driven by the referendum not passing. We had to make budget cuts, and so that was a big reason for the schedule change. There were other reasons too that had to do with making sure that our instructional time for English and math was increased because we needed to bring scores up in those two areas. So you know, unfortunately, other things are gonna have to suffer, but But yes, we definitely are open to having an open discussion on that, but I do agree with you that we should wait until.
I think that
We heard
helps,
from
helps
DPI.
us confirm
Yep.
our knowledge about this subject better. And getting their input is important, so.
If you look at the video of the budget retreat on May 21st or 21st,
Mhm.
I think you'll see that where this was discussed.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, we're gonna move on, seeing that there are no other individuals that have turned in cards to speak. So our next item on the agenda is our Girls Confidence Boot Camp presentation.
She just walked out. Let's.
Oh.
We'll go out of order.
Is it our turn?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, ladies, come on over. We've got one in the bathroom. So. All right, so this is just a few selected from a big boot camp that we just ran at the middle school. I'll let you go. At the middle school last week. And so this boot camp is, well, I'll let the ladies do most of the talking, but this boot camp this boot camp covers a lot of different areas, but the main ones being how to be a good friend, how to be kind, goes along with what we're talking about tonight, actually, how to move our body and feel good in that way. And so they came to tell you kind of their favorite part about camp. But I do want to wait for Anna, so she's the first one to go.
Just, can you explain what age groups were you want?
Yeah, so it's ages 10 through 12. And it's kind of just aimed towards historically a challenging time in kids' lives. So some of these ladies are headed to the middle school and some of them are headed to their 5th grade year at their elementary school. So.
And is this just open to anyone in the community or just?
Yep, it's
Okay.
open to anybody, but we do cap it at 25.
Okay,
And then we just invited a few to speak tonight.
okay.
So, yes. All right.
Wait.
Yeah, so I will introduce you tonight. We have Anna and we have Isabel and Annabeth, Paisley, Revy, and Miss M.
Sam or Marky, most kids know me by Miss M.
Okay, take it away, girl.
All right, go ahead, Anna.
It was hard for me to choose what to write about because everything about this camp was amazing. Some of my favorites about the camp were journaling because it helped me calm down after I had a hard day. I also really appreciated the exquisite snacks. My absolute favorite part of camp was the positive talk walks, which are every day after camp is done, we walk around the trails at the middle school and talk with our friends. But of course, the best things about camp were my teachers. They were so kind and were the whole reason of this amazing experience. Thank you.
My favorite part about Girls Confidence Boot Camp was the breakfast they provided. Here's what we had each day. The first day we had apples, peanut butter and raisins. The second day we had yogurt parfait. The third, within the yogurt parfait is yogurt, blueberries, honey, and granola. The third day we had peanut butter, honey on bread or avocado bread. The fourth day we had oat balls, which includes oats, honey, peanut butter, chocolate chips, and ground flax seeds. The fifth day we had banana, cherries, honey, flaxseed, milk, and spinach and smoothies.
Nice. You just made me really hungry.
Yeah.
My favorite part about camp was also the breakfast. It was amazing. The best part is there was a lot of protein and natural ingredients in our food, like oats, flaxseed, honey, grapes, avocado, peanut butter, spinach, cherries, banana, bread, and more. Some things I like about this confidence boot camp is I liked how you got to try new foods and activities. Some examples are trying avocado toast, try different kinds of push-ups, and enjoying good things that I did. I also felt like you could talk and journal about problems or things that made me feel uncomfortable. The last thing I want to share is a meditation. I was able to relax and let my problems float away. Thank you.
So we're actually reading for a friend who isn't here or is here and doesn't but doesn't want to talk about it. So her name is Kaya.
I really love going on walks to the library and the high school. We got to learn exercises to strengthen our bodies in a healthy way. The teachers were really supportive through the whole thing. I really love coming up to compliment camp. Thank you.
And so we wanted to say, so Miss Ann is the other one who taught with me. And we wanted to say thank you for the support for running this program, because this is our third year and every year it gets better. So we appreciate the support. Thank you.
Great job, ladies.
Oh, perfect.
Don't forget your sweater.
Was there something?
Drinks.
You got a water bottle?
Okay, attached to the agenda are the minutes from the August 11th, 2025 school board meeting. You have the closed session minutes in front of you, because, one of our board members was not in attendance. We, should. Actually, no, we can, yeah, we can do them at the same time. Yep. No problem. There are no corrections or comments, that just looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the minutes of the August 2025 regular and closed session school board meeting as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the August 11th, 2025 regular and closed session school board meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mayor Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Abstain.
and Mrs. Vaughn.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. Moving on to general and other fund bills. Mr. Earl?
The business office offers the following for board approval. Check numbers 155684, 155685, and 160157 to 160277. Wire numbers 252 and 253, ACH numbers 091 to 123, for a total of $369,022.92. Any questions?
Kathy, do you have questions?
No, it was pretty straightforward this time. I mean, the one I asked, sorry.
Nice looking me. Yeah, you're always the one, like that.
Sorry.
CDW government stand for.
CDW government.
Is that a site where you can purchase things? It's like a government website where you can purchase things for the computer. Oh, it's open.
But I like
Was
what
that
Earl asked.
Is that the Google?
There's storage furniture for fabrication lab.
Oh, okay, so that was, yeah, a purchase for the Fab Lab that Mr. Dolly did before he left.
There's cabinets,
Cabinets. One of those that I actually, Jason, I had to look up separate because the contact purchase person was actually gone, so,
Oh,
right.
okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, then looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the general and other fund bills of August 25th, 2025, US Bank check numbers 155,684 and 155,685, and BMO Harris check numbers 160,157 to 160,277, wire numbers 252 and 253, and ACH numbers 091 to 123 in the combined amount of $369,122.92 as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of August 25th, 2025, US Bank check numbers 155,684 and 155,685. And BMO Harris check numbers 160,157 to 160,277, wire numbers 252 and 253, and ACH number 091 to 123 in the combined amount of $369,022.92. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next we have the proposed 2026-2027 school calendar. I was shocked to find out that Labor Day is, I think it's the latest it can be. So school doesn't start until September 8th in 2026. It's kind of crazy. But did anybody have any questions about this or comments about the calendar? I have one question. In March 27, there's a random Wednesday. Is that the end of a trimester or something? Okay.
Yes, a lot of the feedback we had from staff and is to really try to put, when we have those in-service days, to have them aligned with trimesters that end and start of the terms, and so
Sure.
that March, I think you're referring to the March.
March 2nd would be the end of the trimester and.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need to have that day off? Or,
We have it I mean, we could move the professional development day. And we did reduce, this calendar reflects a reduction in 2 or 3 PD days and convert it to instructional days, but. The March one is one that we typically is, I believe that's our last one as we go into the.
I'm just wondering if that poses a hardship for families, having it midweek. I don't know.
It would be for the full district on that date, so. I mean, that's certainly something that we could modify or move, it just wouldn't be aligned to that. In the
Right,
trimester,
right.
which we can't perfectly do anyway at all times.
Right.
I would agree, typically, we've always done them the Friday or the Monday, it generally leads into that.
Right.
You know, 3-day weekends typically preferred.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. I mean, I get it.
If we move that to Friday the 5th, and Kyle, you could speak to this from the teacher perspective, I mean, the term would end, but we could allow like for the grades to be finalized. So, you know, they could roll into the start of the next class in that schedule.
So is it
and the
more for
third.
teacher convenience?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
In that instance, it's more, but, and I would say more so at the high school level
Sure.
than anything else. Is where we usually get that. feedback.
Reset
Yeah.
before they move into the next
Start of the start.
semester.
Mhm.
So the end of the term is on March 2nd.
Second.
And that's because they like to have the balanced on equal number of days, so that doesn't
Right.
always.
So that's why we need it with Clara.
As a former teacher, it would be difficult for me to move on to the next trimester, having not finished the last trimester, because you still have to prepare
Yep.
for the new trimester. And then afterwards. I don't have a solution other than
Yeah.
what you see there,
Yeah. Okay.
because one thing you're doing is not only ending and doing all the grading, but
Right.
now you're getting prepared for the next trimester.
Yeah. Well, I mean. It will be on the calendar. Certainly parents can look at that ahead of time and say, and plan for that with their daycare or whatever. but. Just wanted to ask the questions.
No, it's a very valid question. We put it on there based on that request from the high school to have it if at all possible, but if the sentiment is, that doesn't really work, then, I mean. we're just-
Are the trimesters equal in number of days or?
Yes, you would have the exact number of days,
Okay.
distributed, yeah.
I don't know how we're talking about 2027.
I know, right?
That's killing.
It's, this is actually later than we usually have the
Yeah.
26-27
Yeah.
calendar, we have parents. Already asking because they're planning their trips.
Do we anticipate a fall off of attendance before or after? People saying, oh my gosh, I gotta be off Wednesday, I might as well take off the rest of the week.
Yeah,
Right, I gotta take off.
I don't think so with the trimester starting and.
yeah, that's true. They'd miss the first 2 days of their new classes even.
That might be the reason why you wanna have it on Wednesday, because if it was on Friday,
Then people would maybe take off their.
longer the weekend,
Yeah. That's good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Valid either way.
Okay. Just wanted to have the conversation. Yep. And then we're still keeping graduation on Saturday now, huh?
Correct.
Okay.
What's the major reason for that?
Well, we moved it this last year because
The
There was-
WIA moved the
the
state
WIAA made move the
Sectional
state
track.
track.
times, and so it would force our students,
To
we would
choose
have
between
a
graduation.
handful of students that
Yeah.
miss graduation every year.
Is that gonna be impactful with this 26-27 calendar, given that Memorial Day is the 31st?
31st, yeah. Yeah,
After, would be after graduation. I don't know, well, that happened this last year though, too, didn't it, or did it go? No,
No.
no, it was Memorial Day. and then
it was the weekend, yeah,
Okay.
right.
We, as far as feedback from this, half
No,
hour, I
other
didn't,
schools,
I don't know if, and I did not receive any feedback in regards to disliking the Saturday graduation in that aspect. I mean, it was necessitated to avoid that conflict.
Right.
The only day where we completely avoid school conflicts would be on Sundays.
Right,
But that surveying and the feedback we had, people don't want to do it.
yeah, Badger does theirs. on
Those
Sunday.
dates either, so, I
I
don't
know other schools who do it that Saturday of Memorial Day weekend every year. It's,
And again, so we can plan, parents can plan.
right, yep,
Mhm.
they have it in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next on the agenda is the proposed lunch benefit for substitutes.
I don't have a presentation on this, it was just something that we've looked at for some time and. We're constantly struggled to retain, keep subs, something that we heard feedback from a local district is. They provide lunch for their subs and we'd like to start that, we looked at that analysis, it would run at the most if everybody took advantage of that. I believe I put what was the total dollar amount, around $9,000?
Yeah.
It's under 10, you said,
Yeah.
roughly around 5.
Correct, I figure, yeah, that would be assuming everybody on every day took it. Yep, around the 10, so it's just a perk that we'd like to provide, we've heard positive feedback from the districts to do that, the subs really appreciate it, they don't have a lot of time to. Leave or take off and based on what they're assigned during the day, that can get me stuff, so. We thought that would be a nice incentive as well.
Do you feel like we lose subs because we don't offer that?
Not necessarily you lose subs because we don't. But
Do you feel
we
like
think-
we? Like people choose to go to other districts because they get a free lunch?
yes, I know that there's subs that choose to go to that district and stay at that district because they have free lunch.
Seriously.
Serious.
I would.
Surprisingly,
Free food?
It's like,
Yeah.
and it's a $5 benefit.
$5.
$5.
Oh, so do you get a voucher? No.
They
No,
just
they
have
just
a
do.
key code that they plug in when they go through the lunch line.
Part of the onboarding for the day.
See, Eric Gordon's considering resigning as the school board member. Over the thought of free lunch.
Lori, I've already made my comment, that's not enough of an enticement. But, I think we should try it. And simply the reason why is, it is so hard to get subs right now.
Okay.
And I've heard from other subs, or from subs that they come to this district because they prefer the atmosphere and the students in our district, even though they could get paid more at other districts. And so,
Well, if they're getting paid more at other districts and they're getting free lunch, then I can see that. But. So, if you think it'll help,
How does it translate, if this moves into like a long-term sub position, if it's more than just a 1 day?
No, it's a good point.
Are we, you know, do we, at what point is the stop point of a free lunch?
right, right. Sorry.
We just have it budgeted and booked as if they're in that sub category. If they're if they're hired for a 1 year only, that would be a
Right,
full-time.
do we need to
position.
spell that out before we move forward with any kind of approval of this or?
At what point, there's a number of days at
Right.
what point it becomes a long-term sub,
Long-term
right?
sub, there's a couple different pieces of language I thought.
I would recommend still, if they're considered a sub at that sub rate, because even the long-term sub is paid at the base rate, which is better than the sub rate, but very different from their years of experience. And so the base rate is a prorated of the base salary, which is 40, off the top of my head, say it's 43,000 divided by the number of instructional days.
So,
in
but
the
if
year.
I know that I'm gonna be a sub for a trimester,
Right.
trimesters,
I-
that's not fair.
Yeah. I
That's
feel
not
like-
fair to the teaching staff that's
Yeah,
paying for lunch or bringing their lunch. I mean, if you know that you're gonna be in a long-term sub position for, an
Yeah.
extended period of time, I don't
I
know.
totally agree with you on that.
I mean, I get it, absolutely, one-offs, couple of days.
You wanna
week.
do it for
You
any
know.
position that's not a long-term sub position. Is that
I think that's reasonable, and I think that's accommodating.
any daily substitute, not for long-term sub? I
You guys
I
okay?
agree with that.
I think we wanna do it for like a trial. I'd like you to report on whether we think it's us or not.
Mhm.
That's
How many
good.
people are taking advantage of it?
Okay.
right now, with the shortage of subs, there's a teacher that's taking their prep time
Right.
to sub another teacher that's absent. And so if this alleviates
Sure.
that,
Sure,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I think it's worth a try.
yeah,
Yeah,
If it doesn't work,
I don't disagree with that, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I don't disagree
Yeah.
with it, but I just don't know that we need to afford it to. A teacher that's gonna be there for a semester,
I
covering
agree.
for somebody who's on maternity leave or out for an extended period for knee surgery or something,
right.
you know. You know you're gonna be there for 6-8 weeks, you can plan accordingly.
We
What-
have
what-
the amount of times you can use it.
Well, I think that does, I think that just
Yeah.
does.
Just say you can use it.
I think we're overcomplicating. it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's the difference between short-term and.
And long term.
For me, it's more than anything else, it's the gesture, hey, we thank you
Mhm.
for coming in and
Absolutely.
filling in.
Yep.
Yeah, you've interrupted your day, you've let us call you at 5 o'clock in the morning to ask you to cover a class or cover a days with shenanigans.
When do you want your follow-up data? December, January, October,
Sorry, say it again?
Oh, you like
At the
it?
end of the school year?
end of the school year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Sounds
think we
good.
can survey the subs and see what their thoughts were,
Yeah.
and do a report on.
Yeah.
We'll give you a school year report then.
and board members be a part of this.
No,
Cause you can't be a substitute, so there you go. He's really gunning for the school lunch, man, I don't know.
Go for salad.
Free food, man.
I'll encourage you.
So I go to the curriculum test.
All right, looking for a
High
motion
motivation.
to,
I'll move to approve the lunch benefits for substitutes, but does not include long-term subs.
Second.
okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the lunch benefit for short-term substitutes. As modified. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah, motion passes. All right, Mr. Datka.
How is
I'd
everybody
love to hear
doing?
your summer operations and maintenance report.
Yeah, go on.
Happy to be here. This is one of my favorite ones to be able to come to because it gives the opportunity to showcase everything we've done in the grounds for the last few months and in our buildings and what our team has been able to accomplish. So, like I said, I'm happy to be here. So the first slide that we're going to show is kind of a segue here into something that we had done last year. We started working with Fair Skies and the National Weather Service to be able to get our certification long-term in terms of our grounds or our buildings being safe and weather ready. So we have Mark McGinnis here today with Fair Skies and representing the National Weather Service. It's going to give a little bit of a background on what it is that we did to get the National Weather distinction. So.
Sure.
Move forward.
Thanks, Dan.
Yes, please.
Want me to be anywhere specific talking?
Right there in the middle.
It's right there in the middle. So as Nick mentioned, my name is Mark McGinnis. I'm a certified consulting meteorologist. I work with school districts across the Midwest on bringing your weather safety standards up to federal standards.
Okay.
So there's a federal program called Storm Ready. It's been around since the mid 1990s. It's around all around the United States. So you have cities, counties, states that are storm ready designated. So what we've done is we've brought it down to more of a, say, local level with the school districts. The reason why you're at significant risk, if you weren't aware of that, most of our severe weather happens in the afternoon, and the evening hours. So most school districts across the United States do their 1 or 2 tornado drills a year at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when it's nice and convenient. But the average tornado in Wisconsin is on the ground at 5:17 in the afternoon. Most school districts have never drilled the most likely scenario. And unfortunately, it means they're very, very unprepared for the most likely area. So what we've done with this program is enhance your communications, enhance your education, and also look at shelters in all the buildings as well. So we'll start with the education. You actually have a written weather hazard plan. So best practices, definitions, anybody can come in as a new employee, read that in 20 minutes and get up to speed. So it's an evergreen document. It'll be still useful in 20 years from now. Second aspect is education. So learn about the terminology the National Weather Service uses. Learn about your risk exposure. So when you watch a weather forecast, you can actually think, oh, that might actually impact what we have planned. With the shelters, that really helps with your threat assessment because you know the capacity. We actually have the shelter capacity for all of your shelters and all the buildings. So if you have a large outdoor event, you can look at your shelter capacity and say, oh my gosh, we can't handle that many people. We're going to have to reduce the number or reschedule. So it puts you in a position of learning a little bit more. Also gets you the ability to have confidence to be proactive. And it empowers everybody in your chain of command. So what we want people to do is recognize the threat, know what to do, and where to go during those times. So not only have I looked at your shelters and done the assessment, but we brought the National Weather Service in here as well. So your shelters have been identified by 2 trained meteorologists as the best places in those buildings to put your students, your staff, and your visitors. So at the end of this process, and we started this a little over a year ago with Nick and Bill, at the end of this, you guys have now been deemed by the federal government as meeting federal standards of weather safety. You are a storm ready school district. Tim Halbach from the National Weather Service couldn't make it tonight. He's actually in Washington, D.C., dealing with federal issues with the National Weather Service. But he says, congratulations. He wished he could be here. Unfortunately, he was pulled away actually last minute last week. He had to fly. He was notified he had to fly to DC. But congratulations for the work. This is an ongoing relationship, so I just don't disappear. With communications, internal, external, you will hear from me on days of high risk. So on the 4 to 8 days out of the year where weather's going to impact your ability to operate safely, you'll get advance notice from me with a little bit more detail what exactly is going to happen and when and what you should do as an organization right now to prepare for that threat.
One of the things that you'll notice as you walk the buildings, especially as the start of the school year, is that our severe weather shelters have all been marked with a green sign above the doorways, recognizing it as a severe weather shelter,
Okay.
to be able to give it the distinction so they're easier to identify. So once we finish up the report, we finish making all the modifications to the buildings, everything should be good. And a lot of our buildings had routes that were rewritten and redesigned. We're finishing up our work with EMC, who is our environmental contractor, to be able to redo the mapping. That'll go into all the buildings to identify all the changes that have taken place. So,
I would say one of the more eye-opening outcomes from the training was, and we modified how we handle severe thunderstorm warnings. And the fact that in the past, we would go ahead and let groups and organizations just take it inside to the agility center or the gym. But based off of the feedback and the, if I'm missing the terminology, the shear winds or the straight line winds, that those high structure, the agility center and the gymnasium are not deemed as safe locations to be during the severe thunderstorms due to the extreme damage that can occur from the straight line winds. So we've modified those plans. And basically, if there's a severe thunderstorm, warning at that point, then, you know, we cancel the events and that rather than continuing on with those events and in those locations, which we had done in the past. That's probably our major change, other than some of the location changes and so forth for the storm shelters, I'd say. Was there anything else, Nick, that was a real significant change?
no, we kind of developed that policy procedure then to work with the athletic event. We wrote it up and added it to the plan there. And yeah, no, that was the most significant ones, is just getting the education and be able to identify the safest places, areas that we should have been using, and being able to get the cap for each of those rooms.
So I know there's times when there's events at the high school especially, where probably the only person there that's from the school would be a custodian. So I'm assuming that the custodians are well versed in how to handle a severe weather situation if one were to occur. What's the chain of command on that, and how's that being handled?
I mean, the protocol.
With the organization that's there, that's not part of our district, you know?
I know that John Ansel does a good job of educating our outside groups that are using the facilities as to where the severe weather shelters are in
Okay,
the case of an emergency. Our custodians are all educated as to when warnings go out, specifically tornadoes, that they should empty the gyms, right, and do their due diligence on that. I can't say everybody wants to move very willingly.
yeah, right,
Right, but they put the effort into that. I think that having the signage out,
yeah,
right, and having every room identified as being what is a state severe weather shelter will help as well, because again, sometimes people think it's okay to just go out into that hallway, but if it's on next to your doors, and depending on what the wind direction is, that's not the area. One of the things that we really did identify, high school specifically, is we had a lot more room, right, for housing people in severe weather than what we were aware of. And by
okay,
having this breakdown, I mean, I think the increased number almost doubled,
okay,
right? So what we could actually do in those severe weather situations, so. I think the education is gonna be ongoing. I think there has to be more community involved. Everybody needs to be aware, but part of it is just having better mapping available for them at various points of the building and making it even more easily accessible. But I think as you walk by and you start to see green signs, people are gonna know that if it's a severe weather warning, go to that hallway or go to that locker room, and we should be able to follow.
so our outside organizations are gonna be presented with a map that,
That's what John and I have talked about,
Okay.
yes, when we get to those types of seasons.
And
okay,
if you want to hear from like other school districts, their solutions for that,
yeah,
have it in a contract. They
Okay.
have to follow procedures,
Okay.
because I can share with you stories where, people have gone representing the school district, whether it's a custodian or someone else, and said, you gotta get off the fields, and they just ignore them.
yeah, they just ignore
And
it.
that's unacceptable, right?
Right,
So talk to
right.
legal counsel, have it in a contract.
Okay,
You're gonna avoid it if you don't follow our rules and regulations. The other aspect too is to be proactive. If you know as an organization, there's a threat of severe weather
yeah,
this afternoon from 4 to 8. Well, what do we have going on our grounds between 4 and 8?
Right.
And do we need to postpone it, reschedule, cancel? Let's be proactive. If we don't have enough people there, to ensure safety and procedures, then let's not deal with it.
Right.
Let's just say, hey, you know, we're not gonna let you on the grounds. So that's where this advanced information and timing helps you make, as an organization, better decisions without the stress of last minute, oh my God, there's a warning, who do we have at the school?
Right.
We don't want that situation.
And
We
the,
want you 5 hours beforehand handling it.
the National Weather Service does a great job. We're looped in as school leaders and officials 2 days in advance, sometimes even more when they see it coming on the forecast, and they'll have advanced webinars numerous times before the event comes, so.
Okay.
We're, well informed and able to inform the groups ahead of time too.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, congratulations, yes.
Thank you.
sir.
Thanks to you guys.
Right, yes, they do, yeah. All right, so obviously this summer, right, starting this week, we took care of a lot of projects around the district. This is just a kind of a small sampling of everything that we tackled. It was pretty aggressive because it was back in, I think, late April, early May that we kind of opened up the capital improvement funds to be able to utilize with the June 30th deadline. It was a pretty ambitious task to be able to take on a lot of the things that we did. I highlighted a few that I will kind of focus on in future slides, but this was just kind of to give you in a brief overview. Here's a look at some of the budget numbers that we have for some of the projects that we did, and this isn't all, right? This isn't an all-inclusive list, but it is a large part of them, just to kind of share with you where we're at on that. We know that our big project that we took on this summer was the back parking lot, the north lot at the high school, which I think looks fantastic. And then in addition to that, we were gonna do the roof in August here at Jackson, but unfortunately the contractor couldn't get to it. They are maintaining their price going into next year, and will be the first school out of the chute with us being done before Memorial Day. I wouldn't be surprised if they're there the Tuesday after Memorial Day to tackle the roof sections here in Jackson. So we are locked into those current rates, which is good given, the amount of inflation, but I mean, so we're happy with all those things and those projects. So here again, some of the ones that we kind of looked at this year, I mean, the redesigning the pathway into the stadium was kind of a big thing. I don't know if anybody's been out there and been on the stadium within the last couple of weeks, right? We're over the summer, but we completely reconfigured it. You can kind of see in the left there, that's kind of the walkway going from the concession stand over, and you can see it's wide and it's wide open, right? If you look in through the entrance over by the purple gate, right, that was a nightmare, all right? I mean, as soon as we kind of worked that up, all the ground underneath is completely washed away. It wasn't compacted or built in right, probably when it was installed years and years ago, so it gave way. So we kind of, a little bit of an unexpected hit there, right? But it's a lot wider, right? And I don't know how I ended up with double photos with the one next to it, the fence, right? If you can see the top picture on the right-hand side, that was our entrance. It was kind of a fence that was falling apart. And it served us zero purpose because we couldn't get anything swung into the overhead door on the purple shed. So we brought that fence to the front, we rebuilt it, so now we have the ability to utilize that overhead door and keep our assets protected because it's not exposed, right? And we're able to swing our trailers in and store more grounds things in there. So that was kind of the rebuild of that front entranceway. And like I said, it's big now. I mean, if you haven't been out there in the last couple of weeks, there's a lot of room to move around. And I think it's gonna be awesome for the community to be able to gather after events, whether it be football, soccer, track, it doesn't matter. There's not all those trip hazards there.
Yeah, there are a lot of trip hazards in this section of the field, so shifting that over to asphalt was great, much appreciated, yeah.
It seems like this pool repair was like 6 months ago, but it was like 7 weeks ago that we were faced with this whole problem that existed with this pool, with the lights kind of breaking out. And I know that it was an unexpected hit to our budget, but we made the most of it. Once that pool was empty, we were able to pressure wash it, acid wash it, right, and take advantage of it. Keep in mind that the pool hadn't been drained for at least 10 years, right? Tomas and his crew over there with Carico Pool, they do a fantastic job of maintaining everything and keeping it balanced, so we haven't had the need to do it. And there's this false narrative that if we empty the pool, the walls could collapse. So everybody was afraid to empty it, and we're working with Carico Pool, right, and they're like, it's a concrete pool, it's not gonna fall in.
Yeah.
Right, so there's this fear factor.
I did not start that rumor.
Right.
Now that you told me.
You're being generous saying 10 years ago, the pool
I
had
was
been, I
just
think it
gonna
was
say.
16 years.
It was a
I
long,
was just gonna say, it was longer than 10 years.
it was a
Yeah.
long time, but regardless, 10 years, 16
Yeah.
years, it doesn't, we took full advantage of it being empty. We got all of our old lights replaced, we got new LED lights in there, you can see, kind of the picture for us to the right? We don't even know how long the lights have been off, alright, on that pool, the lights have been off on that pool for at least 10 years. Alright, but they're supposed to be on, right, during competition and all that, right, but they weren't working, and once we found out that they weren't working, we had broken lights, we had to fix them.
Yeah.
Right, we had to take care of it, we had to make it right, so we did, and I think it looks fantastic, and Tomas and his crew were in there earlier this year. Tomas, obviously, I'm speaking about our head custodian at the high school, he was in there earlier this year with his crew, they repainted that entire pool area as well, and it's looking great in there, so.
Good.
Hats off to him and his crew.
And you replaced all the lights.
All the lights are
All the
replaced,
lights were
Nice.
replaced.
all 23, because the problem was, it would have cost us a quarter of the amount to replace the 2 broken lights as it would have just replaced them all, and it,
Yeah.
because it all had to been, you know.
Then eventually.
Yeah,
go
it
in.
wouldn't, it didn't make any sense.
We were surprised that, you know, the process, I was, well, no way, we have to drain the whole pool when you have broken glass in the
Yeah.
pool, but that's the procedure, you're supposed to immediately shut off the pumps, drain the entire pool, vacuum it. And I remember watching a news report of a city pool that had somebody drop a salsa glass in it, that they estimated it was $35,000 to drain and refill the pool over that bracket. So replacing the lights so that you
Yeah.
don't run into a broken light again in the future
Yeah,
is far cheaper than running that risk again, and those
Right.
light covers were there. Ironically, the city pool
just gonna say
had a pair
that.
of goggles that had broken in the pool, and they had to shut it down.
3 days after ours opened.
Yeah,
Who uses glass goggles?
They weren't glass.
oh, they were
They were
No, they were
plastic,
not glass goggles.
plastic, okay.
Yeah, they were just a hardcore plastic.
and they had to empty the
They
whole
had to
thing
empty
because
the
of.
lid for plastic.
How do you break those? That's a.
Yeah. And then 3 days after.
Determination.
Yeah, right.
Right into the wall.
So, then we looked to stain the back north lot parking lot improvements, and this was a complete overhaul. I mean, if you take a look at the photos, especially on the before after on the left-hand side, what you're looking at there is, there's supposed to be a swale in the asphalt that obviously diverts all the water to the storm drain that's kind of down behind the white car in the lower left picture, right? It just wasn't there, it's all deteriorated, it was all falling apart, right? And now we have this nice natural flow because they came in, they rebuilt, they reconstructed everything, and we were able to get it in there. And then on the right-hand side there, what you're seeing there is that area, if you remember us talking about in May, we kind of pushed back that grass so that we had a snow retention area,
Mhm.
because it constantly got beat up every year, right? So we asphalt that and we added additional parking spots. Right, and I think the result is amazing, because if you drive back there, you'll also see additional parking spots that we're able to add over on the auto A corner of the building there. And all in all, with reconfiguring the old bus section on the west side of the school, right, with the north lot additions, we've added 27 additional parking
Amazing.
spots. Right, just utilizing what we already have, a little bit of redesign, right, and for a minimal cost, right? And we know that parking is such a shortage there, especially in large events, having those marked spots is gonna be key. So some of the other things that we have here, cosmetic, right, it's hard to tell in that picture on the left there. We repainted all the railings in the entire stadium, right? The one in the middle there is the faded purple one, where you can see the bright purple ones on the other. All the outside doors have been painted. We tore down all the partitions around the bathrooms, which there's a picture in the overall Google Drive there for you. We pressure washed the concession stand and all the concrete. We tried to do our due diligence to get the stadium in that concession area right back up to par and looking first class. If you recall, the Middlesex picture there, right, is we had that boiler that went down at the high school late in the school year that we were rolling the dice with not getting it fixed until the school year got out because we'd have to drain the system. Right, we were able to get that resolved. There was an insurance claim, all right, for a vast majority of it. But that's kind of what the inside of the boiler looked like. You can see all those grayed out tubes are the ones that were cracked and they were causing the problems. And those have all been taken care of. And the one to the right is the storm drain, right? This is the second straight year. We did get everything running to the storm drain, but the storm drain was broken. And we kind of talked about this last year, right? Just about every one of our storm drains are kind of falling apart. So as part of our repairs, it's almost one of those things that we'll have to roll in and make part of our annual budget there, so. Here, I mean, you guys know from last year, I love improving our playgrounds, making them safer and better. Left side there, that's options. We seal coated that entire lot. It took care of a lot of business over there. This is the back there. One of their asks was to get 4 squares, so they got 2 4 squares. All right, added. The middle, that's a section of pivots. Those sidewalks have been a trip hazard for a few years. We got those resolved. And in the lot behind it, doesn't show it in there, that was seal coated, and our PTO wanted to be able to come in and repaint that lot for the kindergarten teachers, so that new footprints and all that, so they were working on that, they handled it in-house. And to the left, that's the back side of West Side, and we were able to knock out all that broken concrete. We actually expanded to pea gravel, and then we put in a curb edge for the asphalt there to be able to keep that pea gravel in better and still be able to get us to width to get a plow across. And for those of you that are Jackson people, we didn't forget about them, right? We're putting rubber mats down in their gaga ball pit, and we added additional mulch to their playgrounds back there. So on top of that, when we had any free time, we hosted the WASBO Custodial Conference and Maintenance Conference this summer. Right? And I just really want to give a shout out to all of our fantastic staff, whether it be the custodians or grounds guys, and even our professional staff that got involved. I know Dan Keel was able to facilitate it so that the rooms were available to us. John Anslow was there doing tours. Mary Trott here was doing a session for it, and Dave Cruz also did multiple sessions as well out of the greenhouse. It was a fantastic way for us to showcase our building, our facilities, and our staff. We had 380 people attend that as attendees. By comparison, they held one up in Oregon and they had 85 people.
Oh.
All right. When we agreed to take this on, I was told that, you'll have around 150, 200 people.
Wow.
Right, but for whatever reason, I mean, it just spawned and it kept growing and growing and growing, and between our attendees and our vendors, I think it was 450 total people, with 50 school districts represented here in our building, and it was, like I said, it was amazing. Waswell said it was one of their top 3 largest custodial conferences that they've ever hosted, and like I said, it really took a herd to make it happen, so.
Great.
So now we have to have a little bit of an eye on the future, and we kind of talked about this last year. We have IRS who does a lot of our roofing and our hardscape kind of assessments for us. We've worked with them to be able to try to navigate what our most important projects are. So we can kind of slip right one through this one, Mr. Tadlock. So looking at 25, 26, we know what we accomplished in 24, 25, 25, 26, we've already taken a lot of funds because we're upgrading the PA system right now. That project will be taking place this week over at West End. They're gonna get there so that that's done and ready to go for the school year. We really should look at doing another school, all right, this year if we possibly can, because every one of our PA systems and every one of our buildings is kind of obsolete. We can't get parts from anymore, but we need to be able to do that and budget it so that we can get them all cycled through. We know that we're repairing the cracks in the tennis courts. They're out there working on that. I wouldn't say as we speak because they're not there right now, but they are doing that project right now. We're hoping to get it done within the next couple of weeks. The 2 roof sections at Jackson, we've already talked about that. The MS weather mapping, that's the additional route changes that they're taking and they're redrawing up for us. The door access upgrades, this is our portion of the grant money that we would have to pay to offset that project. And then adding some cameras to the high school, so we've already allocated about 340,000 of our $500,000 capital budget. This is where I do my little plug to say that if we ever have available funds, right, at the end of the school year when we're looking at it. I mean, right now we're spending about 67 cents per square foot. in an ideal world, right, to be able to have more and to take care of some of these deferred costs. We'd love to be at around $1 a square foot for 750,000, right, give or take, because, I mean, again, keeping in mind that in the summer of 23, I might be getting my years off for 24, sorry, right? We actually didn't have that $500,000 to use, so everything became deferred cost because of the referendums. Right, so now here, on top of everything else, we're just trying to play a little bit of catch up, but I mean, the margin, there's just not much there. Right, so I would urge the board that if the opportunity presented itself at the end of the year, where we could take care of a couple more of the pressing projects, I think it would be a valuable thing, so.
Hey Nick, I got a weird question.
Sure.
What the PA systems in the elementary schools, how do you upgrade them? What are we, is it a safety thing? Is it a communication thing?
Yeah, you just can't hear out of them.
You can't hear it, okay.
They come in, they're replacing everything on the front end, right, so that it's actually being able to be broadcast out, so they kind of retrofit everything. Right, and they just update the technology so that they're not coming in, they're not putting in new speakers in every room.
Yeah.
It's just the boards and the communication so that it can get out to it.
Well, and a non-working PA system would definitely be a safety issue.
Yeah, that's.
Right. Oh,
In my mind, I'm thinking it's, okay.
It's
Right.
It's the patch of the old analog to digital,
Yep.
and this is from Jake and IT. It's that process has been cobbled so many times
What,
that there's not parts for it, and so now it's like it's completely.
But basically, so my understanding is they're rewiring, doing everything, but you're saying they don't necessarily have to rewire everything, but
no, they just,
it's.
yeah. What I was not aware of is until a month ago, all right, maybe 2 months ago. Was that basically the company that we work with, Sound Specialists, was actually saving parts from other people's or other districts' PA systems. For us to be able to try to keep ours up and running, because every other school district was upgrading theirs, but we weren't, right? So they're trying to save the old analog parts so that they could keep going with ours, and they were just out of parts.
And
right?
there's probably some other districts. On
There's-
We can sell our cards to them right now. Question for you,
Yeah, yeah.
Jason, if you could go back a slide.
Yeah.
When back onto the PA system, when that came up, the note that I had was that the quote came in at 25,000. How did it increase to 50? How did it double?
It's always been at 50, so I don't know where the miscommunication would have taken
Okay,
place.
I'm looking at a message from July 16th.
Sure.
PA system at West Side went out, must be replaced. It is outdated and cannot be repaired. We will expedite to have that done before school starts. The quote is also right around $25,000.
Then I have to look back at my notes
Okay.
and be able to figure out where we're at on that. If it was just a typo where I mixed it up with.
That's significant.
Did
that
I
was-
send that memo?
You sent that.
I may have
So it's not here.
mistyped that, yeah.
Might have to your.
I thought, I said that.
Well, and we were talking about PA system and tennis courts at the same time, so I guess I
Yeah.
don't.
Yes.
Yes, that
Tennis
is true,
courts-
the tennis
Tennis
courts.
courts was in the same.
Was in the same memo.
memo.
Yeah,
And that stayed the same, the repair
Yeah.
cracks.
so it might have just been a typo.
And that's fine, but if we could just confirm that.
What I know is, in my talking with sound specialists, is that our middle schools are basically all, or I'm sorry, our elementary schools will be around $50,000 for upgrades. Our secondary, middle school and high school will be 60 to 65,000 when it comes time to do that. The high school,
Because.
they're bigger.
They're just
Yeah.
It's just size of it.
And the high school might come in a little bit less because they did start an upgrade process a couple of years ago on that building. So,
Well, I hope my memo is wrong and that number is wrong. No, my memo is right and that number is wrong.
Whatever.
I know.
Certain they'd come back
Yeah.
at 50,000.
Whatever it is, I just want some clarification, because we were told. One
Yeah.
number and this is twice as much, with no other explanation as to why, so.
okay,
Cool.
alright, so then these are our next priorities as we're kind of talking about, if we have the funds or as we do to be able to get, because. As of right now, that's what we have on the previous slide is to date, right? So we have a couple of other projects we want to look at. The upgrade of the HVAC in the auditorium, right? This is almost a gotta do, right, at some point in time, because if this goes out, we're 12 weeks without heat or AC, so depending on the season, that's gonna be your casualty there, and that's just simply because that's what it's going to take to get the parts, so we'll have to
Are we
make.
talking the auditorium in
The
the high
auditorium,
school?
sorry, yes,
In the high school?
in the high school.
Okay.
Right, if we wait for it to actually be out and try to fix it, it's 12 weeks lead time on parts, labor, install, if we wanna be proactive on it. This is kind of the budget cost that we're looking at right now on that. If we click on roof section 14, I only wanna bring it up as an additional potential because. We're already replacing sections 10 and 11 right there in the middle of the field. As you can see, the roof sections are from 1993, and as a reminder. These roof sections are 25-year sections, so we're already on borrowed time on them. If we had the funds available, I would do section 14 right away at the same time, because it's gonna save district money to be able, it's not gonna be like a. Save $40,000 type of a thing, but if we're up there doing 10 and 11, it makes sense to do 14 at the same time. I would suggest 13, but we have zero problems up front right now,
Okay.
right, but 14, we do have problems, but. Based on our budget allocation, we had to pick our two worst.
Yeah.
If we got 10, 11, and 14 done, once we rolled into the next fiscal year, we'd be able to attack problems over at West Side. That we have over there, so that we could kind of focus on those. Or I'd have to try to figure out something, because it would not make any sense to have 10 and 11 done before June 30th of 26. And then in July, have them come back and do 14, so.
So, 10 and 11 is 220,000,
Yes,
and adding 14 would do, what's the quote on that?
the budget number I was given was 80.
Okay.
So it's just something to keep in mind, just because we're already up there, and these are kind of. If we can be there and we can take care of it all at the same time, just a thought.
And I'm assuming we're getting competitive bids, right?
Yes, we went out to bid on the roof sections, we worked with, the company I showed, the IRS. They went to bid, they were a mediator on that, and they collected the bids from all the companies for us, so. But if we added 14, we'd have to go back out to bid to add that last
Yep.
section, I would assume
Yep.
that the company
It's
that's out
probably
there.
gonna
is
come in
gonna
at
be-
like 100.
Right. Well, I already added to what the original
Oh,
budget number
Got
was, so I'm hoping that I'm close on that, right? The asphalt replacement at Tibbetts, I have two different pictures there. There's two major concern areas, that one being the dumpsters. Oh, I messed up. Let's see if right? It's fine, we'll move past it, see if I did the playground right, no. Right, I'll send you the pictures, they might even be available on the drive that I gave on the last slide, right? But when the
Projected to.
alright, I'll take care of it.
You want me to pull up Google Maps?
You could, right? The concern over at Tibbetts, right, with the playground and with the dumpsters is the asphalt, especially by the dumpsters, is completely deteriorating. Right, and it's starting to pop because the way it is, it's graded back, right, and it's just not draining properly and everything's starting to pop.
Dumpsters are
Um,
there.
Other side.
yeah, right
There
there.
we go.
So as you scale back, right, all the way to the school, you can kind of see the line where the old asphalt trail meets up with the main path there.
yeah,
Right, that's all decrumbled and it's all popping right over where our sewer is in that area. I have to guess that when they originally put it, they just didn't allow for enough weight on there. And the constant flow of those garbage trucks is just making it into a problem. So we would have to actually come back and we would have to pull out the asphalt into the main driveway there, right, for an extended period of time. And the budget number I got on that is probably around 75,000. Right, but that would be tearing that out, that would probably be putting in concrete instead of asphalt, because that's better for all the garbage trucks and the weight that comes with them, and that would include getting the proper drainage in there to get the water out into the grass, because right now it's just trapped in there. Right, then the other part of the problem is that playground right there, right? When they did the path going around, you can see right where they stopped the asphalt, right? You can see the gray edge to the old beat up full of you know, crack fill that's over to the right there, right? It's all falling apart, and the biggest issue here is that the water cannot get out of there. That shed and the way the asphalt additional path is blocking the water flow from even being able to get out of the playground. And the parking lot or the playground is actually sitting below the grass, so everything just puddles up there, right? So again, we have to get in there and we have to tear it all out, right? And it needs to be completely rebuilt and built up a little bit higher so that it's above grade, and then we still need to grade out that grass a little bit. Because what any civil engineer will tell you is that those darker brown spots in the grass is actually water that's not able to get out, right? It's just not draining, it's not getting back over to our forest area or anything like that. It's just sitting there and that's becoming nothing but a marshy area. So we have major flow problems with getting that water away from the buildings and away from our parking lots. And it's just gonna keep causing all that asphalt to pop over and over again, which was the reason why we seal coated back in that kindergarten lot that I was telling you about, because we know we can never get back there, right? To replace that asphalt, and we wanted to be able to work from the back to the front, right? So that with those repairs that we make, we wouldn't have the need to go back there. So that back lot is pretty much done and resolved, because we have no way in there, because the Tippy Canoe side of it, there's fencing, there's trees, you're not driving back there, you're not tearing that asphalt out, right? We're not driving that path all the way around with all the equipment to do it, so the best we could do was just try to, you know, conceal the problem, and it flows over there, so we fixed a little bit of that problem, right? But we know that we're not ever gonna do a tear out there. So. So. Those are Tibbetts issues there, and anybody with any questions on that? And again, at some point in time, when we get the committee meetings together, or even if you're not on the committee, if you wanna go tour a building with me or any of the projects that we did. I'd love the opportunity to take you guys around and show you and showcase some of those things. I think. We talked about the upgrade. The only thing I have to do now is give you access to the pictures, and there's like all our pictures in there, and you can take a look at a lot of our before and afters, and that's called the rookie air there.
Okay.
No worries.
But I'll make sure you get them, because I know you guys love to be able to see those things, and if you have questions after you see them, and a lot of stuff along the way that we've done, and like I said, right, I'm very happy and very proud of the progress that our group made this year. I think our buildings look absolutely fantastic. They put a lot of time and effort into them, so.
You also restriped at the middle school, right?
Every parking lot in the district got restriped.
Okay.
Right, so it's all district wide. The only parking lots that we seal coated were the middle school options in the maintenance lot behind the softball diamonds, and that one section of the bus. The old bus route on the west side of the high school.
Yeah.
And the decisions were made on what to seal coat, what not. Basically with our company, I mean, we worked with Suburban Asphalt, they were very honest, right? If they thought that the asphalt was too old, right, and it was crystallized, as they would word it,
Yeah.
that it wasn't worth
Worse.
even trying to seal coat, you'd be wasting your money, it's just gonna soak in and do no good,
Right.
right? So the parking lots that were newer of age that we could do it on and be proactive and prolong the life of it, those were the only ones that we addressed, the
Yeah.
other ones we just crack fill line and curb paint.
Yeah.
So. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
you.
I know the summer is the hopping time for that crew, and we really appreciate having the schools ready
Thanks
to
for
roll.
taking good care of our buildings.
Well, I happened to, I don't know if you remember last year, me emailing you or copying you, I think I copied you on a response to a student who
All about the line.
the lines at the middle school. So I saw him at an event at it was at the middle school for the new pavilion that they just finished. And he was there.
Okay.
He's in the process of earning his Eagle Scout. And he came up to me and he's like, thank you so much for listening to me. And he's like, I did it. I got the middle school. He was very proud of the fact that he had an influence and I just let him, you know,
You know, it's fine.
take that credit because, you know, he was super excited that something had gotten done about the middle school parking lot being.
I have no problem if people have recommendations and all that, we try, you know.
He's a,
Clean safety.
you know, he's a high school student and so, but he was super proud of that, so.
Good.
Thank you.
And I think it's important to recognize too, that in this overall budget process, and yes, we did have failed referendums and we've had to make adjustments and cuts. But I know the board's also been very wise, in my opinion, to keep up as best we can. Well, you know, Nick highlighted that could we use more in our maintenance piece and keeping the buildings up, absolutely. But I think we've been very judicious and wise in the project we've selected, safety, maintenance, and staying on top of it. And I know there's been, I've seen criticism sometimes in social media, you can never escape it, that,
Right.
you know, oh, I thought the school was broke, why are they doing the asphalt, why are they painting lines? And at the same time, we need attractive, positive school environments and well-maintained facilities, so.
And
That's
67
a
cents a
balance.
square foot is really.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, moving on, thank you very much for your presentation, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to our personnel recommendations.
so our personnel recommendations sheet there, and we had few resignations, a transfer, and a number of appointments.
Greg
Um,
Wells, good job, Greg.
What?
Greg Wells is coming back as a driver.
Yes, I actually.
Yes. We have another special ed driver position as well that we need filled, so, anyone?
And I'm
is interested?
assuming.
Do you get free lunch?
You beat me to it. Only if you're a short-term.
And I'm assuming, is Michelle your wife?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, looking for a motion to.
I'll move to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for August 25th, 2025, including employment contracts, condition upon passing a background check and district mandated drug screening as presented.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for August 25th, 2025, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Your wife's hired. All right, it doesn't look like Mr. Tadlock has any gifts to present this evening,
No gifts this evening.
and we do have an announcement.
Yeah, just the closed session, again, we'll be reviewing, the school site, the crisis plans. And, yeah, that's pretty much it that I have for the announcements. School year is back and rolling, and there is the welcome back Wednesday morning, where we'll recognize the years of service and just have a brief message, but otherwise, open houses all throughout the district for this week as well. So we're ready.
Great. All right, looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, let me get to my sheet. Sorry, scrolling. Why do I not have this on here?
It's on the board agenda.
Oh, that's why, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one, I was looking at the notes.
I don't know.
Perfect.
Make a motion to adjourn to. I'm not seeing it, I'm so sorry.
I think.
Thank you,
I'll adjourn it. Make a motion to adjourn it contemplated in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent D, and parent G. To review and approve the district's safety response plans and to confer with legal counsel who is rendering an oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the district with respect to litigation, which is likely to become involved. The school board will reconvene in open session for action as appropriate and to adjourn.
Is there a second? Okay.
sorry, I was looking for the words, you know.
Yeah.
I make a motion too.
It's all good.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn to contemplate a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85 1D and G to review and approve the district's safety response plans and to confer with legal counsel who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the district with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. The school board will reconvene in open session for action as appropriate and to adjourn. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yeah.
Mayor Gordon,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Costa,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mrs. Vaughn.
Yes. All right, anybody needs a bathroom break?
7:30.
Ryan showing up at times, like a little nervous. What are we doing?
How'd open house go?
No, I was involved.
All good, except for one flag. You protect one of your visitors, one of our visitors.
We have lost it, so. And it was a lot.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
I'm fine.
But I didn't feel like needed to, find me to share their concerns.